friends, and welcome to the CUInsight Network podcast. My name is Lauren Culp. I'm the president and CEO at CUInsight.com. And it's my job on this show to have conversations with the thought leaders who support the credit union community. Together, we get to talk about all those issues that affect credit unions and the best practices that exist, with the idea being that we all learn from one another and improve our industry together. My guest on today's show is Mark Bugalski, the Executive Vice President and Chief Growth Officer at Allied Solutions. We at CUInsight love our relationship with Allied. They're a great team. Mark, we're so excited to have you with us today. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Lauren. Thanks for the kind words. We feel the same about CUInsight, and it's great to be back with you again as well. Also want to congratulate you on your new position as the Executive Director of the National Credit Union Foundation. What an exciting opportunity for you, for the foundation, and for America's credit unions.
Thank you, Mark, so much for your kind words. I am very excited to transition over to the National Credit Union Foundation later this year. I know CUInsight is in the process of identifying my successor here, but the whole team just loves working with Allied. I personally was really excited to get this episode in before I left. So let me start the episode off the same way that I usually do, which is to say that most of us did not grow up thinking that we would get to work with credit unions. In my case, personally, I did not even know what a credit union was until I was about 20. So, Mark, I'm curious, what did you want to be growing up first?
Well, I've got to admit, Lauren, I was probably a bit of a dreamer or delusional growing up as a kid, because I had all these ideas about having a career in sports, maybe as an athlete, or all the way to being a veterinarian, because I am a big animal person, dog person, but neither of those came to fruition. And I think if I wasn't in the business that I'm in today, I probably would be a pilot. And that was always an interest for me as a kid growing up. And in college, I had the opportunity to get my pilot's license. So I did that, and it was awesome. But I never pursued the career in aviation, although, it was kind of a good option. I was really more intrigued at the time by business and the opportunities that came along with that. So took that route.
That is so cool. Well, a lot of diverse interests, it sounds like, veterinarian, pilot. I'm curious what the journey was like then to your current role as EVP and Chief Growth Officer at Allied Solutions.
Yeah, it was a pretty unique path, I would say, because essentially I've been with the same company for my entire career. As you know, that's not very common these days. And my career isn't a short one either. I've been in the industry for over 30 years, and our parent company, CUInsight Financials, where I started, and transitioned over to Allied when CUInsight purchased Allied in 2004. So I've been working with the same company the whole time, essentially. And I would say that it's been interesting because I've seen so many changes in our industry over the years, and I've seen changes with my company. But one of the constants has always been the people. And I've been fortunate, as far as my path is concerned, to work with some great people, inspiring leaders that really have enabled me to grow and to learn and to prepare myself for the next opportunity that may come up. And although it's been a while when I started, I really began my career working in sales and service, and my territory was the state of Florida. I had a great time, got to meet incredible people in the industry. And then about 12 to 13 years ago, I transitioned into a senior management position at Allied, overseeing the Southern U.S. for our company, which was a whole different type of job than where I started. But it was incredible because I had the opportunity to experience and make an impact in different ways than I did in my previous job. And a couple of years ago, I made the jump and transition over to my current role as Executive Vice President and Chief Growth Officer. And the one thing I've got to say, I know it's been a lot of years, but it all feels like it happened so quickly. And I think about that quite a bit. I think I've been pretty fortunate over the years, not just to work with great people, but I've never woken up on any day and said, I don't feel like going to work. I'm not looking forward to going to work. I've really been lucky in the sense that, I've enjoyed the people I work with, the work that I do. And I tell my kids all the time, if you can ever be in that position, it is really a blessing. And I've been very fortunate throughout my career.
That is so cool. Thanks for sharing the journey. I always love hearing the diverse ways that folks get to the positions that they're in, getting to work with credit unions. And to your point, this is such a great industry that we are all really blessed to work in. For those who maybe don't know, although I think most people probably do, but for those who don't know, can you tell us a little bit more about Allied Solutions, where and how you really add value for credit unions?
Sure, would love to. I just kind of give you a high level perspective on who we are as an organization. We work with approximately 6,000 FIs in the US and Canada, and we represent really four major verticals in that work between credit unions, banks, consumer finance companies, and auto finance companies. And the majority of our clients really exist in the credit union space. So that's where I've spent a good deal of my career and really got to know the credit union business. But we essentially help our clients by providing best-in-class choice of consultative solutions that do a number of things between helping them mitigate risk, increasing non-interest income, reducing expenses, growing loans and deposit, attracting members. So there's really a whole spectrum of services that we provide. And the ones I just listed happen to be, some of the more topical strategies that are of interest given the economic conditions we're in today. So we've been able to help our credit unions hit some of their goals and objectives in those areas, especially over the last few years. And one of the core disciplines I would say that helps us add value is our passion for innovation and bringing new solutions to the market to meet the needs of our credit unions. And that could be anywhere from risk management, innovation, to process automation, to revenue generating innovation. So it kind of speaks to our dynamic of not being satisfied with the status quo and always looking for ways to add more value to the industry. We're fortunate in that we are owned as an independent entity by CUIn Financial. CUIn is the seventh largest life insurance company in the U.S. And one of the things that makes CUIn so unique is they have always maintained just impeccable financial credentials and ratings. They were founded back in 1880. And I think, that level of stability adds a lot of comfort for the clients that we serve, knowing that not only are they working with an organization like Allied that has strong financial results and performance, but our parent company is equally as strong and competitive as we are. And I would say maybe the last thing about this that I would add is, we understand the credit unions are under a ton of pressure these days, and they're looking for business partners that can perform, that can show results. And we've really prided ourselves in our ability and history of demonstrating proven results for our clients and really helping them move the needle in the things that they want to get accomplished. And we've been doing that for over 45 years now. So we've got a good feel for the business.
I love that. I completely agree. The work you all are doing is really innovating on behalf of credit unions. And it's really cool to hear about all the different things that you offer. And in that work that you do with credit unions, I know a lot of times you are focused, like you said, on mitigating risk and optimizing non-interest income being two big goals. How do you recommend credit unions go about accomplishing those two things, mitigating risk and optimizing some of their non-interest income?
That's a great question. Those two things are probably two of the most immediate needs impacting credit unions today. What we know is ROA is down, which is compressing margins. Liquidity is improving, but still an issue, and more than likely it's not going to return to the levels that we saw during the pandemic. Non-interest income is down due to the changes in overdraft and interchange. You've got interest expense that is up due to the rate environment. And then you've got non-interest expense, which is up due to inflation over the past couple of years. So, Lauren, it really is like the perfect storm. So our clients are looking and really demanding ways that they can address all those different challenges. And, I would say, and I know credit unions do this right now, but I would say that really elevating the way that they prioritize how they can reduce risk on their balance sheet, meaning loan risk, while optimizing their charge-off and delinquency liability. You've got loan loss provision expense that has skyrocketed over the past 18 months, I would say, and that's also impacting net income. So really kind of making sure that they've got a good understanding and idea and a plan in place to manage that exposure on the loan side. They should also be looking at different internal best practices to create efficiencies, while also partnering with industry leaders that provide proven and innovative risk and recovery strategies. Because right now you see charge-offs up from last year, you see delinquencies up from last year. So, that's a part of their balance sheet that we really want to help our credit unions manage. And I know that that's a priority for them as well. And then I would say they should also tap into all available channels from a loan growth perspective, meaning third-party refi partners, looking at digital to drive and retain loans and deposits. Because I think what's going to happen, and it's kind of happening right now, we just saw a big drop in interest rates. Organic lending and deposit strategies are still going to be a challenge, but a challenge in a different way, because now the rates are starting to drop. There's going to be a ton of competition between other lenders and fintechs, really trying to grab those loans and compete for wallet share. So you've got a kind of an all hands on deck approach to tapping into different sources to generate loans is going to be important. And I would also say leveraging existing and new non-interest income product strategies to replace that lost revenue I mentioned, because, that overdraft interchange income isn't coming back. So we've got to figure out ways to replace that and augment where, those sources have been generating revenue in the past. And this is pretty important, I would say, with everything I just mentioned, one of the main things, given the regulatory environment that we're in right now, and there's a lot of scrutiny from the CFPB, you're seeing class action lawsuits out there, is to remain vigilant from a compliance and regulatory perspective, because you want to protect your brand. You don't want to make headlines by being named in a lawsuit or being part of a class action. So always, work with partners or even internally, make sure that your teams are dialed in from a legal and compliance perspective.
That is such a good point. You definitely don't want to be in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. The work that you all are doing is so cool. And I know at Allied Solutions, you are really committed to credit unions. And I'm curious if you could tell us just a little bit about the business model for Allied, how you are able to really help credit unions grow and serve their members.
Yeah, this has been one of the fun things about working with Allied. And I do believe one of our differentiators is our business model, which is designed to help our credit unions grow and serve their members. And this is the key, regardless of economic conditions. And what I mean by that is we have such incredible product diversification in our suite of solutions. We have over 100 different services that we can provide our credit unions. So regardless of whatever the risk environment may be, or the rate environment, or bullish or bearish economic environment, we've got a strategy to help our clients adapt and really pivot when they need to make sure that they're providing the best services to their members. They're meeting their balance sheet requirements. And that's, for my seat, that's always been a fun part of my job, because I always feel like Allied has been relevant regardless of what's happening in the economy and things around us. I would say the other area that we've had a really strong history in is product, process, and technology innovation. I kind of alluded to that a little bit earlier, but there have been two recent products that we've deployed over the last, I would say, 2 years or so. One is called Asset Recovery Management. The other is called Refund Plus. And they're both part of our risk and recovery solution suite, which again, given, the elevated risk environment we're in is pretty important now. One of the things that is striking about that part of our business, just this year alone, we will help our clients save over $700 million in potential losses because of what we do in that area. And then we'll also be able to process over 500,000 product cancellations and refunds. And that's part of our Refund Plus product that, that didn't exist a couple of years ago, but there was a demand and a market need for something to be able to fill that compliance gap with product cancellation or refund liability. And we were able to fill that gap. And it kind of leads me to my last point, and that being that, from a compliance and regulatory standpoint, we have always prided ourselves on being a leader in that area, maybe even taking a bit of a conservative position. But I think that's a good thing because, again, you don't want to be in those headlines. You want to err on the side of caution, especially when it involves your consumers and members.
That is so true. And Allied has really been an industry leader in so many different ways. And your business management and service infrastructure is also unique in our space. Can you share a little bit about how you've set up that model?
Sure. Part of this is unique, part of it isn't. But I think the part that is unique is the fact that we have structured a business development and service group of, let's call them specialists, in the geographic footprint that we serve. And that footprint is the entire United States. So our credit unions are based in every state. And we have essentially people in those states, both from a business development, service and support capacity, working directly with those credit unions where they live and where they work. And I think that's the part that makes it unique. It's the fact that we have such depth and breadth in terms of the way that we're structured to support our business and serve our clients. The consistency that comes along with having local tenured resources, I think is pretty unique to Allied because we really have invested heavily in our people and making sure that they're there in the markets that our credit unions are in to really serve their needs. And I would say the other thing that has really kind of bubbled up to the top here recently is our ability to, it's been a tough employment market, but our ability to attract and retain quality talent has been something that I know personally I've been proud of. I think our company, it's been a highlight for our company because it provides our clients with a level of expertise, tenure, and stability that gives them the opportunity to work with subject matter experts in different areas, whether it's lending, collections, compliance, folks that are regarded as experts in our industry. And what's really interesting is some of these folks that we have in these positions, they're not only coming to us from outside the industry, but some of them are actual former credit union executives and leaders that have come to join Allied. So we're really proud about that too. And just having that institutional knowledge has been wonderful.
You mentioned, your people and the talent. That's so cool to hear about the credit union executives, maybe coming over to the Allied side too. And I've gotten the chance to interact with a number of Allied Solutions folks over the years. And I'm always so impressed and so inspired leaving an interaction with anybody from Allied Solutions. You all are a great partner of CUInsight. What has been the key to your success in attracting and retaining such great talent? And how does that really tangibly impact that experience credit unions have with you?
Yeah, well, thank you for that recognition. It does mean a lot to us, Lauren. And I would say it has a lot to do with our culture as a company that really is kind of based in our values. And we promote these values internally quite a bit. And it has to do with innovation, passion, mindfulness, achievement, community, and teamwork. And we've got nearly 2,000 associates at Allied today. And I think people not only strive to embody those values, but they're also invested in what they do. They genuinely care about delivering the best experience um, not only to our clients, but also to each other. And I think that's the key. That's the intangible right there. There's a level of respect for our internal associates among each other that helps create a really positive, energetic work environment. I mean, people are attracted to that and they want to come work for Allied. It isn't always because of the pay. I think it's because of the culture.
That is just so cool. And it's such a great example, I think, for our industry that, culture matters so much. And our people are maybe our number one predictor of our success. And as we look to the future, what is the focus for the road ahead for Allied Solutions? Where are you thinking for the future?
It has to be innovation. I've said it before, it's part of our core values. And I say that because innovation is a game changer for not only our company, but for the industry. When you think about the products that we've brought to market, these are making meaningful differences for our clients. So we've got to continue to focus on that. One of the reasons we can focus on innovation is our financial strength, our stability, along with our market and product diversification. That gives us such balance in being able to do the things that we do on a daily basis and really serve the interests of our credit unions. I guess one of the other things that I'll mention too is, we'll continue to invest and leverage technology, and innovation doesn't always have to be technology, but in a lot of cases it is. But, what I see us doing is really investing in technology that drives business process automation, digital risk automation. And, we'll leverage tools like AI and data to help create the best credit union and member experience. And the other thing that we've really ramped up recently is our M&A activity. We have been a definite buyer over the last 3 to 5 years. And I don't see that changing or dissipating in the future either. I think we're in a good position where we can merge and acquire organizations that help enhance our value proposition, help us grow, help us scale, and create efficiency. But I also think we can bring in other credit unions to help us do that as well and take a partnership approach to that M&A strategy, which we're doing today.
Thank you so much for sharing all about your really unique business model, the way that you are leading the industry and your focus for the road ahead. And I could not agree more that innovation is so important. And with all of the consolidation in the space, I think we're seeing a lot of really exciting opportunities right now for credit unions. As we wrap up the show, I always like to have some fun with rapid fire questions to let our listeners get to know you better. The questions are rapid, but your answers don't have to be. So, Mark, are you ready?
I am ready. Yep.
All right. Question number 1. Who is someone in your life that was a great leader and what makes them so great?
Well, I may regret saying this, but I would say our CEO, Pete Hilger. And I'm not saying that because he's my boss. And if he hears that, I just want you to know that, Pete, I'm not saying that to my boss. But in all sincerity, I've known Pete for my entire career. And I've got such respect for his leadership style. He's the ultimate example of being all in, always. We have this mantra at Allied, 24/7, 365. He lives it. He has a passion and a commitment to our industry and to our company that is relentless. I know because I live it with him every day and I see it. One of the things that Pete does so well is, maybe you've met him, Lauren, or heard him, but he's incredibly authentic and he can deliver the tough message, but he also empowers his team and holds everybody accountable at the same time, which is not, there's a lot of conflicting things just in that comment right there, but he's able to pull it off. And he holds everyone around him. And when I say everyone, I'm talking about just not only internal associates, I'm talking business partners, clients, to a pretty high standard because it's the same standard he holds himself to. And ultimately, it's motivating. I mean, he motivates everyone around him to be better because they see how committed he is and how hard he works. He really does lead by example. And that's always been an attribute that I've admired in leaders.
I have gotten the chance to meet Pete, and it's so cool. I totally agree. He is just a leader we are so lucky to have as an industry. Question number two, if you are going to splurge on something, say you want to treat yourself, what is something you might invest a little bit in, whether that's time or resources?
So I've thought about this, and if you have any connections, let me know. But what I'd love to be able to do is find a restored 1972 Cutlass. So that may give you an indication of my age, but that was my very first car. And, it was older at the time, but it was still one of these classic cars that I was able to get those kind of a fixer upper. And my brother and I spent a ton of time fixing up this car and really making it really fun to have and to drive. And I just regret having to sell it, which I didn't regret at the time. Now I do. But if I could find one of those, I would love to be able to buy one and just keep it, in my garage and drive it on the weekends.
I like that. That's an answer we've not gotten before. Credit union industry, you heard it here. If you've got a 1972 Cutlass, give Mark a call. We'll put you in touch. Random question for you. If you travel for work, many of us do, what is that city that you are most excited to visit when you see it coming up, whether it's a client visit or a conference?
This is an easy one. And I'm sure like you, my schedule's crazy. I'm everywhere, all over the country, all the time. But my absolute favorite is Park City, Utah. And part of the reason is we host our biggest client conference there every other year in August, which is a really nice month. The weather's perfect during August. But during that time, you can hike, you can bike, you can golf. If you like the outdoors, it's just a perfect setting. And in the winters, if you like to ski, the skiing there is awesome. It's a quick drive from the airport. So you kind of have everything you want there, at least I want, in one place. And it's just scenic with great weather. And it's definitely a happy place for me, no doubt.
Well, here is hoping more credit union conferences are in Park City, Utah next year. Great answer. I love that. All right, next question. What is a book that you think just everyone should read?
Well, it's an oldie, but a goodie, because the principles are still relevant today when it comes to business, personal life, and relationship building, called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I read that long ago, and I still go back and look at it again because the things he talks about when it comes to listening, showing respect, appreciation, staying positive, focusing on the person you're talking to, and just being honest. I mean, these are kind of common sense things, but it is really good to be reminded of them every now and then. And I would encourage anybody going into business, coming out of college, make it a read. And, it's an easy read, but it's just the principles are so important in terms of life and business in general.
That is definitely an oldie but a goodie. We'll link to that here in the show notes for anybody who has not read it. That is a great answer. All right, next question. What has been your best hack for creating balance and integration between your work life and what I always call your life?
Yeah, what a great question. And, I just talked about my crazy schedule and and it's tough to manage. I mean, it's tough to manage both ends of the spectrum. But one of the things that I started doing is prioritizing physical and mental wellness. I've always been pretty active, but I haven't prioritized it the way I do today. And what I mean by that is balancing exercise with my work and travel commitments. If that alone has been critical to managing stress, getting better sleep, and I can't overemphasize the importance of getting quality sleep and how that helps you be productive and helps you be healthier. And when I travel, I always try to find a hotel with a gym. And when I'm home, I'm active playing ice hockey, tennis, golf, bike riding, whatever. I mean, just anything. I try to do something if I can every day. And that's really helped create a good balance between, the stress that we all feel at work to just being physically and mentally healthier. So if you make the time, and you got to do this, you got to make the time because it won't just happen automatically. You won't regret it, even if it means getting up an hour earlier. I used to be a pretty early riser. Now I'm even an earlier riser just so I can get that stuff in.
I like it. That is some great advice for folks. We are going to link to everything we talked about today in the show notes, as I said along the way. But Mark, my last question for you is, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share or any final asks of our listeners today?
Well, I know you've got a big following, Lauren. So I'm sure, I know many of your listeners probably already know this, but I think it's good to remember and remind people the credit union industry is not only one of the best segments in the FI space, but it's also an industry with high quality people doing great things to help consumers. And you don't find that very many places, but you find it with credit unions. So we really collectively as an industry, as a group, we need to preserve and grow that. We can't be complacent. We can't be satisfied with something that we have been doing or the status quo. Just because it worked at one time doesn't mean it's going to continue to work in the future. So we have to continue to evolve and look for ways to be better. So, to me, it's a mindset. It's a conscious commitment to do it. And a great way to help credit unions do that is to partner with top tier business partners. It doesn't have to be Allied. It could be another company, but companies that are quality proven companies that have expertise, financial, technology, compliance resources to help credit unions grow. Because I think, and I see this too often, I think there's a feeling that credit unions feel like they have to do it all themselves sometimes. And they don't. I mean, they do so many things well, but they can't do everything well. And really leveraging the skill set and competencies of a good business partner to complement what you already do well and help you get there quicker, get speed to market, be more efficient, and ultimately, hopefully, drive better results.
Well, that is just the perfect way to wrap up this conversation. And to your point, I cannot think of a better partner for credit unions than Allied Solutions. The work you all do is so important, and your commitment to the industry is just really remarkable. So, Mark, thank you so much for being on the show today. It is always a pleasure to get to catch up.
Lauren, thank you. I appreciate your time and partnership, and all the best in the next chapter of your career. You're going to do great.
Thank you so much, Mark. I look forward to running into you in person soon. I hope you stay well. And thank you to all of our listeners today for tuning into the CUInsight Network podcast. And we will be back again next time.